So I'm going to go to, yeah, so you can see her. Now you do have the subtitle, which is not from YouTube because YouTube has a have a subtitle option. It is actually from the British Museum's whoever was in charge of the. But don't rely on it because it takes time. You know, it's But anyway, it looks like somebody did it in real time. You know, with the device or whatever it is. So I'm going to mute my mic and I'm going to play.
Administrative details were it relied on a segment. Hieroglyphs have always intrigued people as this witness of an ancient civilization. Every aspect of Egyptian culture, its religious practice, monumental buildings, administrative details were it relied on a system of writing that developed around 3250 BC. That is a very long time ago. But their picture-like nature revealed, or sorry, hid the fact that they represented a complex spoken language. This spoken language lived on until the 15th century, 16th century, and actually in a way still until present day, because it's still used in the Coptic Church. And this makes it one of history's longest surviving spoken languages.
Brothers and sisters, do you realize what you've just heard from a PhD that works at the British Museum? Now, if some of you don't know what the British Museum is, and feel free to go online and or Wikipedia and find out. You will see it's one of the most famous museums in the world. Probably one of the largest museum in the world as well, but definitely one of the most famous one. Now, as she continues, you see this? See this artifact? Now, to me, it looks like a reproduction. It doesn't look like an original. But that's a British Museum. And this individual here, this pharaoh, oh, let me pause it. Does it look like he's from Sweden or from Denmark? It might be small, like here, right here. There. Does it look like he's from Sweden or Denmark or Spain or Italy? But anyway, you've heard what she said. I've actually typed, I've shared that part in my YouTube timeline and even on Twitter. But on Twitter, I had to make it shorter because you're limited. Now let's see if it all fits. It will not all fit. I don't think it will all fit. Yeah. So it's in two parts. That's the top part. Dr. Ilonga Brigorski, PhD and curator at the British Museum, speaking on the hieroglyphs, she said that it is a system of writing that developed around 3250 BC, 3250 BC, 3200 BC. That's 5,000 years ago. That's 5,250 years ago. That's way back. That's back in the day. And she even added, she stressed that that is a very long time ago. But the picture like nature hid the fact that they represented a complex spoken language. This spoken language lived on until the 15th, 16th century, and actually, in a way, still until present day because it's still used in the Coptic Church. And this makes it one of history's longest surviving spoken languages. I know some of you brothers and sisters, when a black person say, you don't believe it. You won't admit it, but I know. And this makes it one of history's longest surviving spoken languages. But Pookie on the corner said, I don't understand it. It hasn't been deciphered. And people like Pookie, so they repeat what Pookie say. And one repeats it, urban legend, blah blah blah. He did the work. He came up with his arguments. And all the PhDs in the world, they are dead wrong. All the Egyptologists in the world, they are dead wrong. All the linguists in the world, they are dead wrong because Pookie said so. That's bars already. Bars makes this. Now, first she said complex spoken language. And this makes it one of history's longest surviving spoken languages. But we have some people say, oh, we can't speak imagination. We have Old English, do we? Who speaks Old English? You ever went to the street and heard, you go to the corner store and the cashier says, thou hast forgotten, thou hast dropped thy monies. You don't hear that.
The Proto-Semitic Allah burning down tells us was a black god represented by a black bull whose hide denoted his black skin.
Here's the picture that he showed on the screen. It's a deity El, the god El. Pay attention to the crown or the headdress, if you will. This is a picture from the front of the same statue, a little closer, and a little bit from the side here. Now, this headdress is actually the Atef crown. If you go on Webster's online dictionary, that's what it says. Atef is the specific feathered white crown of the Egyptian deity Osiris. It combines the head jet, the crown of Upper Egypt, with red ostrich feather for the Osiris cult. The Atef crown identifies Osiris in ancient Egyptian painting. If you go to Webster's dictionary, Merriam-Webster, it says Atef, hold on, a tall crown with a long feather on each side, shown in the art of ancient Upper Egypt as worn by Osiris. Okay? Here you can see Osar or Osiris with the Atef crown. This is from the papyrus of Nebket. It's actually in the Louvre Museum, and you can see me filming that papyrus on the video entitled Reality Check. Why black people ain't going nowhere. But you might as well put Afro Style Reality Check. It's going to come up. And in here, it's also from the Louvre Museum. You have Osiris in the middle with the Atef crown. and the description for it, if you go on the website of the Louvre Museum and you type Royal and Divine Triad, you can do a search and you will see they mention that he is actually wearing the Atef crown. Now, finally, you can compare the crowns. Okay, first you have the God of the Arabs Negroes, which first is El, but somehow, some way becomes Allah. But that's up to y'all. That's up to the doctor. And then you have the one that I showed you, Osiris. Then again, from the front, compared with another statue of Osiris, and then finally the same statue from another angle.
Biblical King's Seal discovered in dump site. This is the royal seal of the King Hezekiah, and here we have an Ankh. And finally, last but not least, you need to see it to believe it. The God of the Bible, El, slept in his own dung and urine. This is Ugaritic Narrative Poetry, page 195. And we also have this book here, the Masria in the Prophetic Literature, where it clearly says that El floundered in his own feces and urine. Microphone check. There's no sound. There's no sound. Oh, there is sound apparently, but I don't hear it. Strange. How come I don't hear it? Oh, it's coming out of. Okay. I have to make it so it comes out of my headset. Bear with me. No, not appearing. Some of the sound here. Sound. And I want this. And now, if I play it. Okay. All right. It's loud. Good. Hotep Senuhena Senut Itiren Ishakanda Gukemet. I hope you're doing well. The title of this video is Farrakhan heard a voice and had, it actually says Farrakhan heard and voice and had a vision. I have to correct the title. Let me do that now. I see it is corrected. So the title of this video is Farrakhan heard a voice and had a vision, just like Jabari. Now, I'm usually not tripping on that lately, but there's only 4 likes and we have 17 people online, so I'm not in a rush. It's a bad look. I'm gonna be tired of repeating the same thing, and I don't have a problem rescheduling this live stream for some other time, because what I'm going to show you, obviously a lot of people just don't know about this. It's not a clickbait. It's not a clickbait. You're gonna be surprised. You're gonna hear it from the horse's mouth. But you have to do better than this. Now there's 5 likes. In the meantime, I'm going to go through the comments. So we have Sinks Finger in the place to be. We have V. Bennett, Andrea Brunet, Secret Infinite Energy, Donnie Williams, Imhotep 360 Degrees, Lamont Brown. V. Bennett says, I heard your video earlier today, bro. You're so right. Ha ha ha. They're sharing this information. They are sharing this information. You have Pookie over there in the UK too. Law. And the Ferrotis is in the place to be. How many lives do we have now? 10. That's better. Now, what I would like you to do, brothers and sisters, some of you know some individuals who said, you know, not anything against Jabari. And I'm not a member of Jabari's organization for the record, but truth is truth. Facts are facts. Double standards are double standards. So some people say, well, I don't mind Jabari, but when he talked about, he thought that he heard a voice and that vision that he had of a woman, I don't know. All right, put them to task. You don't have to pay $1,800. You can as well. Well, what about Farrakhan then? What do you mean? What about Farrakhan? Farrakhan said that he heard a voice. Really? Yeah, and he said that he had a vision. Really? Now you're bugging. No, I'm not bugging. So we do have Sacred Infinite Energy who asks, what country are you currently in? France. And Jackie Lacey wrote, Happy Wednesday, my brother. It's the first time I hear that. Happy Wednesday, happy Monday. Greetings to you, Jackie. Hold on. 1 second. Something doesn't add up because we have 24 people, but we have 12 likes. So even those who dislike me, you might as well hit that like button, or it's going to take time for you to have the exhibit A. Some of you must think that I'm bluffing. Oh, it's going to say psych, gotcha. What I would like you to do, not just who said, okay, well, I'm not sure about that, so those who've been dissing, not only Jabari, but Kemetic people. Oh, you guys are spooky. Oh, we don't deal with no mystery God. Contact them now. You know some of them. You've seen some of them. Leave a comment on the video. Send them a message. Use Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, emails, you name it. And tell them, come and listen to your leader. Come and listen to the Black Pope. Yes. I have already shared Elijah Muhammad hearing voices. I have already shared that. For years he heard voices. Who said it? Elijah Muhammad himself. I shared that. Motive 360 said, some people are watching from the bushes. The fight doctor is asking, is there an issue with the audio? If you hear me well, press 1. If there's any issue whatsoever with the audio, press 2. We only have 15 likes, yet there are 29 people. So basically, it's half of likes. We have 30 people now. So Andrea Brunet wrote type 1. So she hears me well. Well, everybody's hearing me well. So it seems that if there's any audio issue, brother Elder Fight Doctor, then it's on your end apparently. So I would like you to contact them now and say, come here. Yo, come here. No, come here. Come here. You remember you've been dissing us, right? No problem, the Fight Doctor. You remember you've been dissing us, right? Oh, you committed guys, you pseudo guys here talking about he thought he heard a voice, something. I mean, first, the lie. He's talking about he spoke to a mommy, but we established that it was a lie. We have Stir World as well. To say, come here now. You'll be laughing, right? You're making jokes. Acting like Kemetic people was followers of Kemet, Shemsu Kemet, Shemsu Ma'at, followers of Ma'at are spooky, right? Come here, come get that word. Come get this word. Tell them. Come get this work. You have some nation officer members who don't know about this. Be like, for real? You're gonna learn today. You're gonna get this knowledge today. You're gonna get that knowledge today. You're gonna get this work. Because now with these two videos, this one and the previous one of Elijah Muhammad hearing voices, they won't be able to be talking that smack and using that as a negative towards Kemetic people or towards Jabari or Jabari's organization, Jabari's members. It's just the end of that little talking point that they had. Knowing that so many people said that they had experiences with God. Paul had a vision. People talk about historical Paul, but for some reason they don't say that Paul was pseudo. Imhotep 360 Degrees wrote, the same people who mock Jabari are the same people validating Paul and using him as source when he speaks to ghosts. Yes. Stir World wrote peace to Shaka and Chad. So tell them, come get this work now. Tell them the title of this video. Because that's what they're going to hear. Farrakhan heard a voice and had a vision. And there's even more than that. Maybe a few of you know what I'm going to play, right? Is there anybody that knows what I'm going to play? Now, the positive is 1, the negative is 2. So, is there anybody who knows what I'm going to play? Or have an idea of what I'm going to play? If you have an idea of what I'm going to play, press 1. If you don't have any idea of what I'm going to play, press 2. We also have Stacy Events. She wrote Peace Shaka in the chat. African Renaissance TV wrote Greedo was hearing voices. Who is Greedo? He about to be free. So Imhotep 360 doesn't know what I'm going to play. We have the elder brother James Power in the place to be. Sacred Feminine Energy doesn't know what I'm going to play. Stir World doesn't know what I'm going to play. I thought there would be a few more people who knew what I'm going to play. The Ferretist wrote, play Malcolm X video. No, later on maybe. But what I'm going to play, the video is going to be Farrakhan who talked about hearing a voice, actually more than one voice, but we're going to listen to the video. It's a video, it's not just an audio, it's a video. And he had a vision. Stir World knows what I'm going to play. Farrakhan had a vision on spaceship. Stir World knows the deal. He knows. So every time they're gonna say, "Oh yeah, hearing a voice, I had a vision," you can say, "You mean just like Farrakhan?" We have Tayi in the place to be, another French speaker. Not far, but Elijah Muhammad, yes. Unless I missed something in a video, but I'm not even sure if I have listened to the video all the way to the end. I'm not even sure. I've heard what I needed to hear. So I'm leaving you a little bit of time because I know some people must have made fun. Some people who made fun, right? They don't have anything, so they want to use that. The pastors would say that they heard God spoke to them, that they heard Jesus, that Jesus spoke to them. They don't make fun of them. They're part of the big boys league, the big boys on the block, the Abrahamic belief system that is accepted. That's the status quo. The status quo, and everything else is pagan and heathen. That's the way they get down. But all this making fun of followers of Kemet and followers of Ma'at is gonna end tonight. For those who know the movie reference, some of you old cats know. I don't need to say the name of the movie. Might give bad inspiration. We already have people who apparently are either into or considering the sex industry, which is legal. Did you tell them, brothers and sisters, come get this work? All right. We have 36 people, 21 likes. That's better. That's better. I can rock with that. Can respect that. All right. So, let me see at what minute I would start it. What minute would I start it? That I can close. Where is it? There it is. What minute would I start it? Okay. It's going to be on now. You will see it was not a joke. Movie guy knows. Tonight. All this is going to stop tonight. Still World wrote, "What's crazy is the preachers say they talk to slash hear from God, but that homeless guy on the corner talking to himself is labeled crazy." You know, um, I saw a meme that was so funny, and it said, um, when somebody has imaginary friends, they say he's crazy. No, when somebody has one imaginary friend, they say he's crazy. When he has several imaginary friends, they say it's religion. Now you might have seen it worded differently, you know. And I thought that meme was funny. No, some people must think he's bluffing, man. You see the title? Farrakhan heard a voice and had a vision. Oh, he has to be bugging. He has to be bugging. Are you ready, brothers and sisters? We have 37 people online, and okay, yeah, it takes time on the StreamYard, you know, to appear. Well, no, I'm on the YouTube page, and I just ask, "Are you ready?" So I guess people don't have the attention right now. Are you ready, brothers and sisters, or you want me to wait? I'm looking at the chat. on YouTube. I don't see any response. Are you ready, brothers and sisters? Maybe it's my connection. Test. Boom. Test appears. Are you ready? Okay, V. Bennett wrote, "We with you, bro." The Pharisees wrote, "Press play." She doesn't want to wait anymore. The Fight Doctor wrote, "Ready." Andrea Brunet wrote, "Ready." And actually, just so that people don't think that I'm making it up. Stern World, I seen that. Swing down, sweet chariot sound and let me ride. And I heard that song, but I don't really know what it's all about, you know. So V Bennett, we're with you, bro. Press play. Ready, ready, press play. Okay. We have 42 people online now. I'm going to mute my mic, press play. I've seen the beginning. I don't recall seeing the end, but you know, I might get tired and stop it because you're going to hear the nitty gritty. We're going to go straight to the nitty gritty. It's going to be early on. Call your friends, call your peoples, call your detractors. They're going to get this work.
So in calling this press conference, I'm calling you because of the serious nature of the announcement that I am about to make. An announcement on which hangs the future of this nation, its leaders, and the people of America. This is not the usual press conference, though I realize that you may only be able to use a very small portion of what I say if you choose to use it at all. However, I would hope that you record everything that I say, that it may bear a record either for or against you and me. It is written in the book of Ezekiel, "When I say unto the wicked, you shall surely die, and you give him not warning, nor speak to warn the wicked from his wicked way, to save his life, the same wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at your hand. But if you warn the wicked, and he turn not from his wickedness, nor from his wicked way, he shall die in his iniquity, but you have delivered your soul." It is in this spirit that I make this announcement. In a tiny town in Mexico called Tepoztlan, there is a mountain on top of which is the ruins of a temple dedicated to Quetzalcoatl, the Christ figure of Central and South America. A mountain which I've climbed several times. However, on the night of September the 17th, 1985, I was carried up on that mountain in a vision with a few friends of mine. As we reached the top of the mountain, a wheel, or what you call an unidentified flying object, appeared at the side of the mountain, and I was called from the wheel to come up into the wheel. 3 metal legs appeared from the wheel, giving me the impression that it was going to land, but it never came over the mountain. Being somewhat afraid, I called to the members of my party to come with me, but a voice from the wheel spoke, saying, "Not them, just you." I was told to relax, and a beam of light came from the wheel, and I was carried up on this beam of light into the wheel. I sat next to the pilot. However, I could not see him. I could only feel his presence. As the wheel lifted off from the side of the mountain, moving at a terrific speed, I knew I was being transported to the mother wheel, or the mother plane, which is a human-built planet a half a mile by a half a mile, which the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us of for over 60 years. The pilot knowing that I was fearful of seeing this great mechanical object in the sky, maneuvered his craft in such a way that I would not see the mother plane, and then backed quickly into it and docked in a tunnel. I was escorted by the pilot to a door and admitted into a room. I shall not bother you with a description of the room, but suffice it to say that at the center of the ceiling was a speaker, and through this speaker I heard the voice of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad speaking to me as clearly as you hear my voice this morning. He spoke in short, cryptic sentences, and as he spoke, a scroll full of cursive writing rolled down in front of my eyes, but it was a projection of what was being written in my mind. As I attempted to read the cursive writing, which was in English, the scroll disappeared and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad began to speak to me again. He said, and I quote, "President Reagan has met with the Joint Chiefs of Staff to plan a war. I want you to hold a press conference in Washington, D.C., and announce their plan and say to the world that you got the information from me on the wheel." End quote. He said to me that he would not permit me to see him at that time, but he said that I had one more thing to do, and when that one more thing was done, I could come again to the wheel and I would be permitted to see him face to face. He then dismissed me and I entered the small wheel, and the pilot, whom I still could not see, moved the craft out of the tunnel and took it up to a terrific height and maneuvered his craft that I might look down upon the mother wheel, and I saw a city in the sky. With great speed, it brought me back to earth and dropped me off near Washington, where I then proceeded into this city to make the announcement. After I awakened from the vision, it seemed to vanish from my mind. However, on the morning of September the 19th, 1985, a great earthquake struck Mexico City, and it was felt as far away as Tepoztlan, the little town where I was staying. The earthquake brought the vision forcibly to my mind, and I spoke it later that morning for the first time to my wife, Khadija Muhammad, and to Sister Taineta Muhammad in the city of Cuernavaca in Morelos, Mexico. During the vision of 1985, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did not tell me who the war was planned against or where the war would take place. But as events began to unfold from September to December of 1985 into January of 1986, it began to dawn on me slowly that that war might be against Muammar Gaddafi and the Libyan Jamahiriya, but I was not completely sure. In early February 1986, I was invited to participate in and be the spokesman at a press conference initiated by the Libyans in cooperation with Kwame Ture of the All-African People's Revolutionary Party and the representatives of approximately 15 groups of blacks, Native Americans, Hispanics, and whites, in essence, to say to the government of America, hands off Libya. While I was speaking at that press conference, the lights of the television cameras in the back of the room brought back the vision of the press conference that I was to hold in Washington, D.C., and I wondered to myself, could this be it? In February 1986, I embarked on a world tour. And while I was in Ghana, in West Africa, it crystallized for me that the war that President Reagan and the Joint Chiefs of Staff had planned was, in fact, against Muammar Gaddafi and the people of Libya. So I decided to alter my planned itinerary to go to Libya and to warn Muammar Gaddafi. I arrived in Libya and practically every member of the Libyan government met me in my suite, with the exception of Muammar Gaddafi and his second in command, Jaloud. I spoke to them and they went speedily away from my room. I expect they went to see Muammar Gaddafi. But from Tripoli, speaking before the representatives of approximately 80 nations, I repeated this vision publicly, sending back to the United States a warning to President Reagan and then Secretary of State George Shultz. During the confrontation in the Gulf of Sidra between the United States Air Force and the Libyan Air Force, it was reported in the press that a bright orange object was seen over the Mediterranean. The wheel was in fact present, and it interfered with the highly sensitive electronic equipment of the aircraft carrier that was in the Gulf of Sidra, forcing it to return to Florida for repairs. In 1987, 2 years later, in the New York Times Sunday magazine and on the front page of the Atlanta Constitution, the truth of my vision was verified, for the headlines of the Atlanta Constitution read, "President Reagan planned a war against Libya." In the article which followed, the exact words that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad spoke to me from the wheel were found, that the President had met with the Joint Chiefs of Staff and planned a war against Libya in the early part of September 1985. I did not realize at that time, when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that I had one more thing to do, that one more thing involved having the actual press conference that I am holding today and making the actual announcement that I am now fully in the knowledge and understanding of. The reason that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did not tell me who the President and the Joint Chiefs of Staff had planned the war against was because Muammar Gaddafi, the Muslim revolutionary leader, and the small nation of Libya was only to serve as a sign of an even more significant and consequential event which was to come several years later. I am here to announce today that President Bush has met with his Joint Chiefs of Staff under the direction of General Colin Powell to plan a war against the black people of America, the Nation of Islam, and Louis Farrakhan, with particular emphasis on our black youth, under the guise of a war against drug sellers, drug users, gangs, and violence. All of this is going on under the heading of extremely urgent national security. The FBI, in preparation for this assault on the black community, has stepped up its campaign against strong black political leadership. The FBI is using dirty tactics under the guise of flushing out corrupt politicians to malign and besmirch the good name of many of our strong fighters for justice, threatening them with indictments or casting them into prison. With other weaker leaders, the government has already promised them wealth and nearness to the centers of power, and to be in their councils in exchange for their being silent when the actual attack comes.
All right. Jananda wrote, Do we gotta listen to the whole speech? And it's a good thing she wrote that because I'm realizing that the video is just longer than I thought. And you can understand why I didn't listen to the full thing back then. The beginning is already like, wasn't even like save the best for last. You know what I'm saying? Oh, but maybe out of curiosity, I listen to. I mean, we might have some more vision experience. Who knows? You know. But I took some notes. I took some notes, and in the meantime, I've made the chat for members only, which means that only members can type in the chat. And for those who don't know, you have the link to join. It's $3 per month. That's $36 per year. There's no obligation. I have a fair bit of comments to go through already, but first, let me go through my notes. Now, I started talking about the book of Ezekiel. That's from the Bible, for those who don't know. Many people don't know that throughout his writings, Elijah Muhammad quoted the Bible so heavily, quoted the Bible way more than the Quran. And he talked about a tiny town in Mexico, and he talked about a mountain that he had climbed a few times before. And then he said that there was a vision, and he was with a few friends of his, and he talked about a wheel, and he said that he was called to come up into the wheel. He said that the wheel looked like it was going to land, so we can think that just like in the movies, the spacecraft, spaceship, UFO is just above ground, and then whoop, he didn't say that verbatim, but if the wheel did not land, how did he get into the wheel? He must have been transported into the wheel. But anyway, then you heard a voice that said, "Not them, just you." And he was told to relax. Chill, homie, chill, chill. And he mentioned a beam of light. And usually in movies, you have this beam of light, and it go up, you know. And he talked about the pilot. He said that he could not see him, but he could only feel his presence. So there's not just the voice and the vision. There's great details about that experience. Have you recognized Khalid Abdul Muhammad behind Farrakhan? I'm wondering what he was thinking. Let me go through the comments. I want to catch up on the comments, and then I will go through my other notes. But now, brothers and sisters, while I go through the comments, you can call your contacts because it was no bluff. Nation of Islam members, friends, Nation of Islam sympathizers, all those people who say they don't believe in no spook God, your NGE 5%ers, your MSTA, Hebrews or like black Christians, atheists, everybody. Tell them to come here, especially those who used to make fun of Kemetic people. I wonder if they're going to talk smack now. My little finger tells me they're not going to talk smack now. Let me go up. And I really don't mind for this exclusive alone if you show a little bit of support. There's my Cash App. And there is my PayPal. Thank you, Senate RP. All right, let's go through the comments. So, where did I stop? Some of you are shocked right now. Some of you are processing it right now, right? And some of you are like, they ain't gonna make fun of us no more now. And that's Elijah Muhammad, that's Farrakhan. They were slick, weren't they? Real slick. Where did I stop? There's so many comments now. Mothership landing capital center, law. Anyone also believes that those spaceships are in Japan. Stern, or Storm, sorry. Storm wrote a comment saying that, well, by the username and the avatar, I presume that's her sister. Storm said that she was, correct me if I'm wrong, that she was a member of the NOI, Nation of Islam, for 25 years or 20 years, but I think it was 25 years. And Storm wrote, you do know that the folks in the so-called conscious community who diss Jabari also diss Farrakhan? I haven't heard that. I haven't heard that. But please, tell them to come on. I would like to see that. You know, maybe a few anonymous and unidentified individuals, but the people who've been dissing Jabari over this mention of this falsehood of him speaking to a mummy, which he never said. And a lot of people did not care to correct that falsehood. But then talking about he heard a voice. People say mummies don't speak. Dead people don't speak. Now, on this video, it says the announcement and it says that it was 1989. It's talking about events in 1985. Elijah Muhammad died in 1975. So please, Storm, all those people, you know what? I'm going to open the line. Link to get on the panel. Oh, I want to hear those people with this Farrakhan. I appreciate the statements, but I don't see them. Where are they? The Walker Squad, which is dead but still have zombies. They're free to open their mouth now. And anybody else. I would like to see those with this Jabari and also this Farrakhan. James Powell wrote, Shaka, the bushes are getting full. Still rode the wheel. Esoteric says that there's no support for Farrakhan over here. V. Bennett wrote, he speaks in parables. Esoteric wrote that double speak is what Farrakhan uses to keep his worshippers controlled. Man to Son wrote Zolut family. V. Bennett wrote sounds like angel dust. The Fight Doctor is asking, were they smoking some good weed? V. Bennett wrote, it's called Love Boat. The Ferretist wrote, please like the video. How many likes do we have? 30 likes, that's better. We have 42 people online. Stir World wrote, told you the wheel. Stir World knew what I was going to play before I played it. Muted 360 wrote, sounds like Farrakhan was with Ezekiel. Darius McNair wrote, must be the wheel Elijah Muhammad was talking about. LMAO. What's the Love Boat? Black Gangster got a monopoly on the Love Boat market, probably. The Ferretist wrote, please become a member. But I don't think we have a single person that became a member. Becoming a member is support. Oh, that's what's up. Thank you, the Ferrotis, for that cash app. I appreciate it. And we have Jackie also. Thank you for that cash app. I appreciate it. So it's good. It's 3 people out of 43 watching. Now, Esoteric wrote addressing Darius that they believe Elijah is still alive on this giant UFO. Some Nation of Islam members believe that Elijah Muhammad did not die in 1975. I think I have the doctor in Islamic studies who said that on tape. Storm wrote addressing Esoteric. We all know that you missed the point. The ones who have a campaign against Jabari have no love for Farrakhan either. How do you know? Esoteric wrote, and people still listen to this fraud. Is he a fraud because he said that, or is it because he said that black people are basically cursed and disfigured and mocked? Once again, there's so many people who said that they spoke to God or God spoke to them. Short, cryptic sentences, he said, not cryptic. Storm wrote, I can't understand for the life of me why people are hating on Jabari for hearing, sensing, or speaking to a he. Did he speak to a spirit? I don't recall him saying that he spoke to a spirit when he is a priest. That's what priests do. Well, I don't know if all priests do that, but many talk publicly about their experiences and communication with God or other entities. You know, it's nothing new. But people don't have much on Jabari. He mopped the floor with them, so now they wanted to pick on that stuff. But now that we have established that Elijah Muhammad stated that he's been hearing voices for years, and Farrakhan, we've heard him. I mean, you cannot get more explicit. But you will notice some people say, well, he didn't play the full thing. You know what I'm saying? Sure, I played the full thing. It's out of context. Some will say that. Not many, because Imhotep 360 Degrees wrote, addressing Storm, those same people love and adore Paul, though. Yes, the same people who make fun of Jabari, many of those Christian apologists, yeah, they appreciate Paul, which is the earliest Christian author, by the way, for those who don't know. Paul's writings are earlier than the Gospels, the accounts of the apostles. V. Bennett wrote, all this is nutty, but let's decipher who this disinformation is meant to hit. We have Exodus 66, who said that she's the like number 26. I appreciate that. And if you have not hit that like button, hey, boom, just click. Just that. James Powell wrote, I hear you loud and clear. Man to Son wrote, wow. No effing way, law. Lamont Brown wrote English and not Arabic. That's a reference to the cursive writing. Storm wrote, we can't expect religious or spiritual folk to hear and speak to spirits and such. Well, when it was Jabari, I didn't hear messages like that, and maybe you did, but the majority were like, ha ha ha, they said the word Jabari, ha 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 ha. Now, we're going to see. They're going to move to something else. Mentu wrote, I'm sorry Khalid had to hear that BS. Stir World wrote, when he speaks about white supremacy, you better listen. All that other stuff is just noise to me. Chew the meat, spit out the bones. Esoteric Autochthon wrote, Elijah Fraud and Farrakhan stole their lies from Superman with this type of talking. The fight doctor wrote, you can always tell the quality of the drugs by how many details are given about the experience. Jolanda wrote, he's recounting a dream. Well, I don't recall him saying dream, but I recall him saying vision. Maybe he used the word dream somewhere, but I remember that he used the term vision. Storm wrote, it's terrible how people attack Bro Jabari when he is absolutely transparent on what and who he is. Lamont wrote, he is sure he wasn't on the phone. Rebel that Sounds wrote, alien spoke to him in English? Well, he didn't use the term alien. The Fight Doctor wrote, Gaddafi hated black people. Gaddafi made some negrophobic statements, but when you receive that money, you might not want to address it. People usually respect money and power. To make the long story short, money and power. The book of Revelations is a whole dream. Beam me up. Gaddafi was a racist and no good for Africa. Oh, but you know what they say. Oh, Gaddafi, you know what I'm saying? The currency backed by the gold. And, what's the money for Africa? That's because it had money. Some people are. Or money or power. Some people are up to no good, but they have people to back them up. They have a gang, so people are real polite to them. Real polite. Real diplomatic. This is the most unimpressive attempt to persuade African Americans to be a sacrifice. Now, for those that don't know, in the 70s, if I'm not mistaken, it's in the 70s, Elijah Muhammad wrote in their own newspaper, the newspaper of the Nation of Islam, Muhammad speaks, that Libya loaned them millions of dollars. I think it was $3 million. I've shared that before, I've documented that. And then we have Khalid Abdul Muhammad's video when he was not in good terms with Farrakhan, because Farrakhan would not holler at him after all he has done. And he talked about the $5 million that he got from Gaddafi for Farrakhan. So we have like $8 million, but that's what we know. That's what is known publicly. Some of you may find mention of Gaddafi pledging to give so many millions to Farrakhan. I don't even know if it was 1 billion, but it was a lot of money. And the American government was not happy about that. But you know, you can bypass that. You can find other ways, can't you? The bank accounts are not only in America, are they? There's a French right wing party that was kind of struggling to get some banks to keep their money. So the head of that right wing political party said that, you know, their bank is in Russia, you know. But anyway, I digress. Lamont wrote, he has the longest part in his hair. It's half a mile long. Storm wrote, initially he said this was a dream. He later stated it was more than a dream. Well, maybe he used the word dream, but I know he used the word vision. And I'm going to play it again for the record. So, you know, call your friends, call your baby mamas, call your cousins, call your baby daddies, call the conscious community. Call your pastors to tell them they're not alone. Call your imams, call your rabbis, call your linguists, call your historians. He's gonna warn Gaddafi, and they laugh. Gaddafi gave him $1 million, and the U.S. government blocked it. Khalid Abdul Muhammad said of his own mouth, it's on tape. I have the video entitled Deception of Asiatic Black Men. It's in the description of this video. You will find the tape there, the excerpt. Khalid Abdul Muhammad said that he received $5 million from Gaddafi. And it was indeed $1 billion. So I'm going to share the LA Times, the Los Angeles Times. I have it in the chat. And I'm going to share the screen now. And what does he say? It says Farrakhan denied $1 billion from Libya. Now you've seen the movie Django Unchained by Quentin Tarantino. In French, we pronounce it Quentin. And we have Samuel Jackson, who had one of the greatest performances. Because I never hated a movie character so much, and when I saw Django, I mean, it makes you hate his guts. Samuel Jackson nailed it playing Calvin. And we have Mr. Condi, Monsieur Condi, played by Leonardo DiCaprio. And when Calvin breaks it down to his boss, to his master, they ain't here for that girl. I mean, they ain't here for no slaves. They ain't here for no fighters. They're here for that girl. At one point, he asked him, "Did he give you the money?" Well, he ain't bought diddly. And at one point, he says, I forgot the amount that they proposed, that they offered. They said, that made you real friendly, didn't it? Can you imagine $1 billion? There's some people who literally kill their family members for money, insurance money. There's a guy who I think was a rapper. He killed his own mother. He got caught though. So in jail, he's gonna get all the attention in the world. Some people betray you not even for money. So can you imagine $1 billion? They're gonna be like going all the way. You know, that's motivation right there. Washington, the federal government denied Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan permission Wednesday to accept a promised $1 billion gift from Libya to help African Americans economically and politically. Accused of supporting global terrorism, Libya for years has been under US sanctions that bar most financial transactions between the two countries and limit travel. Farrakhan had applied last week to the Treasury Department's Office of Foreign Asset Control, asking that he be granted an exception from the sanctions to permit acceptance of the $1 billion pledge by Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi during a visit Farrakhan made to Libya in January. The Treasury Department denied that request in a message to Farrakhan's lawyers in Chicago, asserting the continuing need of the United States to enforce its policy of isolating Libya. The government denial came just a day after Farrakhan said, if the exemptions were not approved, I will go across the nation stirring up Not only my people, but all those who will benefit from it. But it's always those threats that we've been hearing for I don't know how long, but and then jack ever happened. As a matter of fact, the exemption were not approved. And what happened after? Farrakhan was en route to Libya, where he is scheduled to receive the $250,000 humanitarian award from Gaddafi on Saturday. That gift, too, was barred by the government decision. At a news conference in Chicago before his departure, Farrakhan said the U.S. government has left poor Americans in the lurch with a new welfare law and said he wanted to use a Libyan gift to help blacks and the poor. Okay, that's enough. That's enough. I'm gonna read the whole thing. All right. So, I mean, you have banks in other countries, you know, and you can send some people over there with some, suitcase, briefcase, have the C notes inside, and cross through some borders, from other countries by the road. I mean, there's so many ways, you know. So we can only imagine when we know for sure that $5 million at least were given. I'm sorry, $8 million. You can double check. Oh, by the way, I made a mistake. I wrote it in the chat and I pinned the comment. My previous video today talk entitled "What is Culture?" question mark. I stated that Farrakhan was born in St. Kitts and Nevis. I said he was born in St. Kitts and Nevis, wasn't he? Something like that. He was actually born in the Bronx, so he was born in the U.S. So I made a mistake. Now that article from Elijah Muhammad thanking the Libyans for the gift, I think it was $3 million. We can double check. But Khalid Abdul Muhammad definitely said $5 million. So that's $8 million that we know of for sure. Then a promise of 1 billion. So if 1 billion is promised, you can only imagine how many millions were given on the low. On the low. Storm wrote, Lord have mercy. J. Heru wrote, he said he had a vision. V. Bennett wrote, the U.S. government blocked it because Farrakhan didn't register properly. Well, that's not what the article said. The article talked about some sort of, isolation. It's like a measure, How are you going to tell the entire world you're going to rise up against the U.S. government and receive weapons from Gaddafi and expect the U.S. government just to let you receive the money? Well, I don't know about receiving weapons from Gaddafi. Money, yes, but weapons, I don't know about that. Kinetic energy in the place to be. Peace to you. V. Bennett is asking, did everyone like? Well, we have 36 like, which means that not everybody liked because we have 46 people right now. What they will do is avoid the conversation. They don't diss Farrakhan. They're scared of Farrakhan because NY have a reputation of coming after people. Coming after people. They have a reputation for laying the murder game down, B. V. Bennett wrote, Gaddafi via video conference promised to send weapons. You may want to watch that video and watch Farrakhan face. Lol. Please share the video if you can find it. I would like to see it. All right. Bought and paid for. Well, nobody came on the platform. I guess people don't want to come on the platform and criticize Farrakhan, The criticism, is mainly reserved for the people who are not Abrahamic. Non-Abrahamic people, yeah, they get laughed at. They have tried to make Kemetic people the laughing stock of the conscious community. Well, in the meantime, I'm going to play the rest of the video.
FBI has been working to destroy the Nation of Islam since 1940. Right. As a young Muslim 34 years ago, I recall that agents of the FBI were constantly visiting members of the Nation of Islam, trying to frighten us and our families away from our belief in the religion of Islam and away from our desire to follow the leadership of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Now it is well documented through the Senate subcommittee hearings on the counterintelligence program of the United States government under J. Edgar Hoover, and through information that we have received under the Freedom of Information Act, that the government of the United States, the Justice Department, and the FBI, in the name of fighting communism and in the name of preventing a
Our brother V. Bennett. Oh no, it was. I've left a message in the chat saying, "Did the live stream ever froze up?" Somebody sent me a message, but the same elder brother told me, "Oh, my bad, it stopped on my end." Okay, I'm gonna thank him still. Okay, actually, Dua elder. There it is. V. Bennett is in the place to be. I'm gonna put you on the panel, brother. Hotep, how you doing, brother?
Hey, Shaka, how you doing, bro?
I'm chilling. I'm glad because making fun of Kemetic people is ending tonight.
Yeah, man, it's going to be a celebration.
They're gonna sound so silly. I mean, they're gonna look so silly. All this energy.
You know what they do? They just avoid the conversation.
Yes,
Anything
they
they
do
don't
it.
like, they just avoid it.
Of course,
just because,
it's the best. It's the best thing to do.
Yeah, but check this out. There is a video that exists, and it's been around forever. Oh, 2 seconds, man.
Yeah,
Sorry,
no problem,
bro.
no problem. No problem. No problem. Take your time, brother.
Gotta take
But
care of something real quick.
Yeah, no problem. In the meantime, let me see if I can find it. But if you know about that video of Gaddafi, even Gaddafi's name, it can be so many different spelling of his name. Gaddafi. Well, if you know about that video, if you, I mean, you know, so let me know. If somebody would like to join us in the panel, feel free. Link to get on the panel. And yeah. Oh well, you know, I'll play the rest of the video.
Messiah from rising among black people who would unite us, and in the name of protecting the existing social and political order, use taxpayers' dollars to employ every dirty trick that was ever used in overthrowing foreign governments deemed to be the enemies of the United States, to overthrow and to undermine all black leaders and black organizations in the United States. It is well documented that the FBI, using taxpayers' dollars, conducted illegal surveillance, wiretaps, and mischievous machinations against black leadership to discredit, undermine, embarrass, and even kill those leaders who stood up to amend the condition that 310 years of chattel slavery and 100 years of free slavery produced. That which the FBI has done against the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Nation of Islam, black leaders, and black organizations, again, is well documented. It was the FBI who planned and engineered the split between Malcolm X and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. It was the FBI and its agents that engineered the murder of Martin Luther King Jr. It was the FBI and its agents that engineered the destruction of the Panther Party and the killing of members in the Panther Party. It was the FBI and its agents that engineered the destruction of the Nation of Islam after the departure of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in 1975. It was the FBI that planned and engineered the struggle in the courts to weaken the nation from within and to deprive the Muslims of that which their hard-earned dollars had gained in property through probate court disputes. It was the FBI's plan to promote division among the ministers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad after his departure, that the Nation of Islam would never ever rise again. And now that I and those with me are working night and day to rebuild the work of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad as a means of reforming our people and transforming their lives into lives of service and usefulness to themselves and others. The same fear of the government that was seen in times past when Dr. Martin Luther King made an innocuous, simple speech saying, "I have a dream." The next day, the FBI said he was the most dangerous black man in America, not because he was actually dangerous, but because he was wielding influence over black people that white people did not want him to wield. My dear beloved brothers and sisters, the fear of the government that was seen in times past is now seen again because of Louis Farrakhan's growing popularity and influence among black people in America and throughout the world. And now members of the FBI's anti-terrorist task force and the organized crime racketeering task force have been working night and day to cripple and destroy the Nation of Islam, culminating in an attack on Louis Farrakhan with the purpose of discrediting, embarrassing, and ultimately causing my death, preferably by heightening tensions within the movement, exacerbated by government agents posing as Muslims. This is the aim. This is the aim of the United States government, and it is also the aim of the President of the United States, President George Bush. 2 weeks before George Bush was elected president, he made a speech before the Simon Wiesenthal Center in Los Angeles detailing his support of Israel and his continued support of the Jewish community. He pledged continued funding of the Justice Department in their continuing investigation and vigorous prosecution of those whom the president called anti-Semites. And he said, quote, "Whether they wear brown shirts or white shirts and bow ties, whether they live in Skokie, Chicago, or Brooklyn, New York, the villain is the same," end quote. I am sure President Bush was not referring to Senator Paul Simon of Illinois, who wears bow ties and white shirts. But during the Reagan administration, the then Vice President Bush spoke out against me, identifying me by name. And now, as he approached the presidency, he spoke of me by innuendo, saying that he would continue the funding of the Justice Department. He promised he would lead the fight against those whom he and certain leading members of the Jewish community determined to be anti-Semites through vigorous investigation, prosecution. And then he indirectly referred to me as the villain, quote unquote. Evidence is now mounting that those were not empty words of the president, but those words, as in the past, have been translated into a program, a policy, and a war that has been designed to destroy the Nation of Islam and Minister Farrakhan, with a particular focus on the growing strength of black youth. The vision that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave me from the wheel in 1985 is now manifested fully in that President Bush has met with his Joint Chiefs of Staff, the chairman of which is a black man, General Colin Powell, and again, they too have planned a war. Why would President Bush assign a black man to be chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, jumping over 30 white men who are reportedly more qualified to be chairman? Oftentimes, when a black man is elevated to a high position, it is because of a desire to use him against the legitimate aspirations of his own people, or to use him as window dressing to make the masses of black people believe that an unjust and corrupt system is now working in their behalf. With an army full of young black men and women, and an army full of Native Americans, Hispanics, and poor whites, could it be that General Powell will be used to justify the use of these soldiers against General Noriega and his regime in Panama, against the Medellin drug cartel in South America, and then on to Daniel Ortega and the Sandinista regime, and possibly against Cuba, against the liberation movements in Africa, and lastly, but most importantly, against the rise of black youth and black people in America? Members of the press and brothers and sisters, for the past few years, the American press has been feeding the public the image of black youth on a rampage. From the gangs called Crips and Bloods in Los Angeles, California, the Central Park incident, to the drug sellers that are operating in major cities along the East Coast, particularly in Washington, D.C., the image that the American public gets is that when it comes to gangs, violence, and drugs, that the gang leaders are black, the violence is black, the drug sellers are black, and the majority of drug users are black. Our youth are being portrayed as perpetrators of violence and are being armed with street sweepers, AK-47s, Uzis, MAC-10s, and it is being reported that these black youth are better armed than the local police. The police are saying that they have insufficient arms to combat these drug groups, and therefore they either need heavier weapons or the backup of the National Guard and federal troops. However, information has come to us that the police have great firepower available to them. Information has come to us that in Fort Hood, Texas, black men and women are training supposedly to fight in house-to-house combat to protect European citizens and European cities, while in reality they don't know it yet. They're being trained for house-to-house combat in the ghettos of North America. Brothers and sisters, information has come to us that certain areas of the country have been targeted to test these new weapons. Armored personnel carriers that can travel at speeds up to 70 miles per hour with high-caliber machine guns are being stored in the armories of the major cities and are stored in the armory right here in Washington, D.C. And the use of certain kinds of gases is being planned. This is being planned to be executed against black youth in several major cities in the country, and one of those cities is Washington, D.C. My dear beloved brothers and sisters, much of the gang activity is fomented, manipulated, and kept alive by forces from within the white community, and oftentimes by the very police themselves, to justify what the government is planning against our community. I've talked with the gang leaders, and they have told me how the police will come into the community and say, the Bloods are going to riot tonight, what are you going to do? Then they'll go into the Crips community and say to the Crips, the Bloods are going to riot on you tonight, what are you going to do? Police have actually picked up Crips and dropped them off in the neighborhood of the Bloods and say, when I leave and turn my back, you can do to them whatsoever you please. These are police fomenting more and more bloodshed so that every night on the news, this media can show black youth with their arms behind their back, kneeling down so that the white American public can see black youth as the enemy, so that when the government moves on black people, Americans will applaud and say, "You did a good job." All of this has been planned and is now being carried out under the pretext of national security and to maintain, preserve, and protect an increasingly corrupt and unjust social and political order. In closing, I would like to issue a warning to the president, a warning to the government, and a warning to the people of the United States of America. If I am in your mind before you of myself, if I am in your mind a hater, an anti-Semite, a wild-eyed radical, then you have nothing to fear from my presence. For I, like those who are actually like that, will go the way that history has decreed for that kind of person. However, if I am in reality in front of you by Allah's divine will, as an extension of the divine warnings given to you from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, then be instructed that you would do well to leave me alone. You would do well. You would do well to leave the Nation of Islam alone and to cease and desist from your evil planning against the future of the black people of America and the world. For the black people of America, though despised and rejected, have now become the people of God, and He has declared that He will fight you for their liberation. The government would be wise to heed the counsel of Gamaliel in the days of Paul and the early Christians, who advised the rulers of that day with these words, quote, "And so in the present case I say to you, stay away from these men and let them alone, for if this plan or action should be of men, it will be overthrown. But if it is of God, you will not be able to overthrow it, nor them, or else you may even be found fighting against God. So it is not wise for you to plan against Allah's servants, for by so doing, America, you're planning against yourselves." This warning is for President Bush, the government, the chiefs of staff, and the wise to reflect upon, so that the unwary citizens of America may not be harmed by the consequences of the wicked machinations of the United States government. You may come against me, which you are free to do, since we have no power to stop you. But I warn you that I am backed by the power of Allah and His Christ, and the power of that wheel in which I received this announcement. And the moment you attempt to lay your hands on me, the fullness of Allah's wrath will descend upon you and upon America. And before you will be able to establish your mockery of me, if that is what you wish to do, for what was revealed to me in the wheel, you will see these wheels, or what you call UFOs, in abundance over the major cities of America. And the calamities that America is presently experiencing will increase in number and in intensity, that you might humble yourselves to the warning contained in this announcement, or be totally destroyed from the face of the earth. This is a final warning. This is a final warning to you. The ball is now in your court. You may do with it, with me, and with us as you see fit. Thank you for your attention, and may Allah bless each of you with the light of understanding as I greet you in peace, thanking you for being with us this morning. I greet you. Assalamu alaikum.
All right. Our brother V. Bennett is back. Are you there, brother V. Bennett? Oh, okay. He left me a private message. He's has to do something. Well, um, it's been 1 hour 35 minutes. Now, for those who arrived recently, you will see that this is not a clickbait.
So in calling this press conference, I'm calling you because of the serious nature of the announcement that I am about to make. An announcement on which hangs the future of this nation, its leaders, and the people of America. This is not the usual press conference, though I realize that you may only be. It is written in the book of will I require way your of Central and South America, dedicated to Quetzalcoatl. There's a mountain on top of which is the ruins of a temple dedicated to Quetzalcoatl, the Christ figure of Central and South America. A mountain which I've climbed several times. However, on the night of September the 17th, 1985, I was carried up on that mountain in a vision with a few friends of mine. As we reached the top of the mountain, a wheel, or what you call an unidentified flying object, appeared at the side of the mountain, and I was called from the wheel to come up into the wheel. 3 metal legs appeared from the wheel, giving me the impression that it was going to land, but it never came over the mountain. Being somewhat afraid, I called to the members of my party to come with me, but a voice from the wheel spoke, saying, "Not them, just you." I was told to relax, and a beam of light came from the wheel, and I was carried up on this beam of light into the wheel. I sat next to the pilot. However, I could not see him. I could only feel his presence. As the wheel lifted off from the side of the mountain, moving at a terrific speed, I knew I was being transported to the mother wheel, or the mother plane, which is a human-built planet a half a mile by a half a mile, which the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us of for over 60 years. The pilot, knowing that I was fearful of seeing this great mechanical object in the sky, maneuvered his craft in such a way that I would not see the mother plane, and then backed quickly into it and docked in a tunnel. I was escorted by the pilot to a door and admitted into a room. I shall not bother you with a description of the room, but suffice it to say that at the center of the ceiling was a speaker, and through this speaker I heard the voice of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad speaking to me as clearly as you hear my voice this morning. He spoke in short, cryptic sentences, and as he spoke, a scroll full of cursive writing rolled down in front of my eyes, but it was a projection of what was being written in my mind. As I attempted to read the cursive writing, which was in English, the scroll disappeared, and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad began to speak to me again. He said, and I quote, "President Reagan has met with the Joint Chiefs of Staff to plan a war. I want you to hold a press conference in Washington, D.C., and announce their plan and say to the world that you got the information from me on the wheel." End quote. He said to me that he would not permit me to see him at that time, but he said that I had one more thing to do, and when that one more thing was done, I could come again to the wheel and I would be permitted to see him face to face.
All right, we have our brother Elder James Powell. Thank you for calling in. You're on mute, but yes, thank you.
Oh, okay. Hello, Shaka. I heard you just saying that nobody wants to come on, and I'm always listening. I'm in the bushes too, but I know you have it on what do you call it? The subscriber mode or join mode right now.
Members only,
And
yes.
yeah, members only. And I know I told you the other day I'm gonna get to be a member, and I am. It's just that I be doing a lot of stuff, Shaka, and I'm gonna get it done though. You can do it right here on from your phone, right? In other
If we
words,
can do what, brother?
can you join and get it started right from your phone?
Yes, you can do it on the phone, on the tablet, on the PC. Yes, indeed.
Okay, my PC's back in the other room, and
Yeah,
I'm kind of
but
like
on the phone you
chilling
can
out.
on the phone you can do it as well. You
Okay,
can do it
well
as
I'm
well.
gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I've been doing a lot of running today, and I told you, I believe the last live we were on, I said I was gonna join, and I'm gonna do it, brother. You know, just that I don't know why everybody's afraid to come on and chat. Also, you know, I've listened to Farrakhan for a while, you know, and uh it was bad how they did Malcolm. I didn't like that. And it seems like it was always a battle. You know, it seems like it was a battle to get that position after, you know, Elijah. And I don't know. It's just
Elijah
that
was still alive, brother, you know.
hmm?
Elijah Muhammad was still alive when all this thing happened to Malcolm, you know.
Right. Uh
Mm.
they were trying to get revenge for Elijah. I don't know if Elijah was this is just my opinion now. I don't know if Elijah was, you know, pushing them up or getting them to do what they were doing to Malcolm, but it seems like Elijah was they were making it seem like Elijah was saying, no, leave him alone, don't bother him. And
Yeah.
it, maybe Farrakhan and maybe some of the other brothers, you know, a lot of them came out of the prisons, and they could have initiated all of this on their own. But you know, the thing that was really ugly, and it's been said before, is when uh, Farrakhan said, "What business is it of yours how we handle our own?" You know, and it seems like he was
If we
bragging.
dealt with him like a nation deals with a traitor, you know. But I will play the clip after when you finish, brother, so people can see it.
Okay, yeah, I didn't like that either,
Yeah,
and
I didn't like it either. I was shocked when I saw that video. I was really
yeah,
shocked.
yeah. I thought when I first saw the whole setup of the black Muslims, uh, I think I told you before on one of the other programs, I was steered away from it. My grandmother would. We went to one of the African Episcopal uh, churches, and you know, we learned about Jesus. You know, that's all I learned when I was a youngster. And you have to go along with what you're being taught. But one thing they were telling us is to stay away from the Muslims. You know, they're too gangster, and they're violent and all that kind of stuff. They just had an aggressive talk, but it made sense to me. I could see the sense in it, and they were talking, for, you know, trying to motivate their people, and I thought that was good. But it was totally a cult when you look at the complete operation, because that crazy stuff about the wheel too. When that finally came out, I remember they used to talk about Jesus, man. They didn't want nothing to do with Jesus, you know. But then all of a sudden, Farrakhan just flipped the script, as they say, and now he's talking the Bible and every, you know, Jesus this and Jesus that. I'm thinking about a lot of the
But you know,
stuff.
brother Elder, they've always talked about the Bible. Elijah Muhammad quoted more of the Bible from the Bible than the Quran. As a matter of fact, the PhD in Islamic studies, Dr. Wesley Muhammad, when he greets, he said many times, that he bears witness that Allah came in the person of Far Muhammad, and then he usually ends his greeting by saying, "And I bear witness that." I mean, I'm quoting him, of course. He bears witness that Elijah Muhammad was his messenger, and that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is his living and exalted Christ. And if people want to challenge me, I have that on tape somewhere. But feel free to continue, brother Elder.
Okay. Yeah, I was just kind of a little disappointed in them. They did good, I guess, for their time and era. They really motivated a lot of the blacks, and that they were continually uh, setting traps for us to be imprisoned, and we would fall right into them, instead of getting out there grinding it out. I saw a lot of brothers and men out there. I mean, working hard for their families, even though they had to do the rough stuff here in America. Like up in the area where I live, I guess I say down in the area for the people that's up north. The black men did a lot of physical work. They call it pulpwooding. You're going out there and you're down in trees. You're swinging that axe. You're doing real physical work, but you just got paid the money that you got paid, and you took care of your family with it, which things wasn't real expensive uh, back then either. I remember buying cookies too for a penny and a big old pop cola soda for a nickel. I mean, I know it's a joke to a lot of the people today and the kids, but you just look at what's going on now and you can see the change. I'm real thankful that I was able to see segregation and just up to where it is today, because I really can see stuff and tell some stuff to people if they really got the ear to listen and want to hear. But I like, back to what I was saying, I like what the Muslims were doing for black people, especially the black men, trying to get them on their feet and get them focused right to take care of their family and be the man that they should be. Because that was I think from what I can see now, that was the object of the white man. He was wanting to destroy the black family, and it's still going on in a sense. I think a lot of us, we can't see it because it's real delicate, and the stuff they're doing, uh, it's just, it looks like it's just blended into everything else, but and that's just fun and it's beautiful, but really it's nibbling at your culture, and it's nibbling at your family, and especially the part where you got where they got the kids, your child abuse stuff, and the children can call, the child abuse people on their parents, and the man's not in the family. I remember that back in the day, the man, he couldn't be there if they were getting welfare. If the welfare lady came, he had to
Oh,
hurry and hide.
Section 8. Section 8.
Yeah, yeah. They still have that out there, the Section 8. They still have it. But the man couldn't be in the house. And that's no kind of family, man. Even though he's the dad of those kids, uh, that's no kind of family when the man can't be there on a regular and just being a good guide and direction if he's being that kind of man. Some of the men were lousy. Now, I ain't going to agree. I mean, I ain't going to, get away from that. Some of them were just no good, and they weren't taking care of their families. But you always got a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So I get back to what I was saying. The Muslims, they had some good to them, but it was a lot of bad too. So I don't know why you people out there won't come on and get on the live with Shaka and express your point of view, because I see his channel building up, and you like to hear what this man says. So if you like what he's saying and you're agreeing with it, don't be afraid to give your point of view. I know me myself, I'm an old man now. A lot of people, they're afraid to do it because they think that somebody's gonna try to hurt them. And to me right now, I don't even worry about that because I've lived my life. That might be why a lot of people are scared to, give their point of view, Shaka. But The brothers that was on the other day, we had a good conversation. The ones that you said that you haven't seen in about 10 years. That
Yeah.
doggone that go born fog, man. I like him, man. That's a
Yeah.
good brother. Yeah, and even the one that you had a disagreement with. It seemed like y'all
Yeah.
nipped it in the
Hero.
bud. Yeah,
Yeah.
you nipped
Yeah.
it in the bud. You know, you let that
Yeah.
stuff go, and that's the
Mm,
way it should be. You got to let
yeah.
that stuff go, man.
Mm,
Can't keep carrying it on year after year. I see myself kind of doing that, and my wife, she gets on me about holding on to stuff. You know, she'll get on my case. You should let that go now.
mm,
Don't keep holding on to that. Let it go. And I
mm,
have to listen to her, and she's working with me well on that because I've got some family members that I have disagreements with,
mm.
and I kind of hold on to it. But she say you got to put that behind you and let it go, and she's right. And I think a lot of us have to do that. I'm gonna let you play that the rest of that, man. And I'm gonna start running my mouth, and hopefully
Mm.
somebody else will come on here
Oh, it's
and
okay.
talk
Don't
with
worry.
y'all.
I will wrap it up. I'm gonna play the Farrakhan talking about I'm sorry, talking about Malcolm X, and I just played that again, that vision thing with hearing voices, so people could hear it for the record, for just arrive. When you live streaming, people come and go, but at this point, I'm just going to just listen to the statement about Farrakhan. I'm sorry, about Malcolm X. And in the meantime, I will check a video that the brother sent to me. V Bennett sent me a video in the private chat, so about the weapons, and then I cut it there. But I appreciate you for calling in. But I agree with you. A lot of people just because I require people to show their face. A lot of people are just scared and worried. Uh, Not just about the nation of Islam, but also, at the government. They think they're gonna be, watched and stuff like that, and get into a lot of trouble. But the funny thing is that, mainly in the conscious community, the majority of people, they claim to be warriors, revolutionaries, but then they're scared to show their face. I mean, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, they were not hiding. But that's life, so it's nothing new. It's okay. It's okay.
I guess, yeah. I guess it's a different kind of warrior now. I don't know. Times are changing, and I look at a lot of stuff, and I see the grit, like in the sports and stuff. It was a lot tougher, the sports, like the football now. You can't even hardly touch the quarterback without getting penalized. Everything is softening up. And I guess that's what a lot of stuff is going on in all areas. Yeah, I'm serious, man. I've seen stuff. I played football in all the sports, as a matter of fact. Man,
Mhm.
we caught it back in the day, and the coach would tell you, put it on him, man, stick him. You know what I mean? Don't go trip him down or push him. Hit him and make him know he was hit. You don't try to hurt him or kill him or nothing, but you let
Yeah.
him know. Maybe I don't want to go that way no more. Coach, you call a play over on the other side, because this fella here, he would put it on you. You know what I mean? But that wheel stuff, it was crazy. And Farrakhan was standing up there with a straight face, talking about the wheel, and he was beamed up. They can't talk about Jabari, man. And all he said is it could have been spiritually. He could have been spiritually or mentally hearing somebody.
Mm.
They really tried to make him look bad and talk down on him. But why they don't talk about Farrakhan and some of the other, like in these churches, man? Oh, you can hear him. The Lord, yeah, he just came to me and he just told me this. He just came to me.
Yeah.
I was just standing there looking at him and all that.
Hmm.
You got to believe them people and take it for their word. Take them
Yeah.
for their word, because
Hmm.
you wasn't there. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you just got to say, well, yeah, well, that's what happened. I believe you, sister. Or I
If you
believe
say
you,
so.
brother. Well, I'm gonna shut up. I see somebody else that came on, and I'm gonna give them a chance to talk. So it's another brother down there.
It's brother V Bennett. Brother,
Okay,
is there
I'm
any
here,
chance you
bro.
can use the webcam, brother?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I can. I'm just at work, so I'm trying to
Mm,
keep it down a little bit. Let
mm.
me see something here. Let me see if my camera works.
Well,
I only
I'm
got a
going to
couple
play.
minutes.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just going to play Farrakhan video when he talks about Malcolm X. So may give you time
Okay,
to
do that.
get yourself ready. Okay.
Okay.
If you don't need me no more either, Shaka, I'll stay here because I'm in your corner, brother. I'm gonna tell you like it is. And when you see me, you're gonna say, "Ah, Elder is finally here." I'm gonna be there. It's just that I gotta get it done. That's all. But I'm always in your corner. And if I hear you say something about come on the live, I don't mean to just be on here all the time, but I
I
don't mind
understand.
coming on and
I,
speaking
I,
my
I,
piece about
I
a subject and letting you know how I feel about it.
I appreciate you. We
And I'm
have
totally not.
our totally not afraid. Yeah, and we have our elder also from Bermuda, Highly. Sometimes as well when he hears that I'm telling people, okay, nobody comes in, then he comes in to show support. So I really do appreciate that, brother.
Mhm. And another one, what's his name? Babylon Don. I kind of
Yes.
like old Babylon. He's feisty, brother, and but
Well,
he's sensible.
he's gonna take offense at whatever we say since he's not there. I mean, when we talk about Dr. York, he takes offense. So I think it's best not to say anything
Not to say
because
nothing. Okay,
he's
okay.
gonna
I,
be
I
angry
like
at
him.
me. Yeah, he's
Okay,
gonna
I,
be
I
angry at
I
me.
like him, but I'm gonna leave it like that. I ain't gonna say too much about it. But I don't have no bad words to say about him. But he's factual. He knows his stuff, and I like that about him.
Hmm.
And that he teaches me. He taught me last time we talked. As a matter of fact, I think it was about the maiden, the virgin. Yeah, and he said that the virgin was mainly pertaining to the woman because she had a hymen and a man doesn't have a hymen. So that's why he couldn't be a virgin. So I appreciate Babylon for doing that. I really do.
Hmm.
Because I thought the boys could be a virgin too. Because hey man, they haven't penetrated a woman. So I say, well, this boy don't even know what's going on. He don't know nothing about no sex. So he's gonna be asking if it's an experienced woman or girl, where do I put it? And what am I supposed to do and all that kind of stuff. So I'm thinking that's kind of virgin like. But if it's all pertaining to a hymen, a man can't be a virgin. Babylon was right.
Thank you, Elder.
All right, I'm
And
gonna, I'm gonna kind of shut up and I'll probably just go on and get out of here. But I enjoyed talking with you, brother. And don't forget, I'm always
likewise,
in your
brother.
corner.
Likewise. Likewise.
All
Thank
right,
you. It's very kind
all
of
right,
you, brother Elder.
all right. Bye.
All right. Appreciate the Elder showing support. Now let me play that clip here.
Yeah, I love Elijah Muhammad enough that if you attack him, I would kill you. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And I'm not a killer, but neither are you. But if somebody attack what you love, each one of you in here would become a killer instantaneously. Am I lying? Mother, let somebody look like they're attacking your child. Here's a woman who fought a bear because the bear snatched her baby. And she ran the bear down, screaming until the bear dropped her baby. Love casts out fear. We don't give a damn about no white man law when you attack what we love. And frankly, it ain't none of your business. What have you got to say about it? Did you teach Malcolm? Did you make Malcolm? Did you clean up Malcolm? Did you put Malcolm out before the world? Was Malcolm your traitor or was he ours? And if we dealt with him like a nation deals with a traitor, what the hell business is it of yours? You just shut your mouth and stay out of it. Because in the future, we're going to become a nation. And the nation got to be able to deal with traitors and cutthroats and turncoats. The white man deals with his. The Jews deal with theirs. Salman Rushdie wrote a nasty thing about the prophet, and Imam Khomeini put out a death thing on him, and it stands today.
freedom.
All right. Thank you for the video, V. Bennett. I'm going to share it in the chat. The reporter says that he offered weapons. Um, Unfortunately, we didn't hear it directly from Gaddafi's mouth, but I'm going to
Yeah,
share. Yes,
I
feel
got
free,
another
brother.
video. Yeah, I got another video where it's coming where they show Gaddafi saying, on the
All
video
right.
on the satellite video. But yeah,
You have that
that's
usual problem with the static from your phone. It's
oh
like,
yeah, 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 yeah,
but now
yeah.
it's good.
Can
Now
you
it's
hear
good.
me?
Now it's good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um, keep pushing, brother. I'm actually my battery is so low. I was waiting around for this program, and as soon as you came on, now all of a sudden my battery is just reduced. But people should try to find that video with Gaddafi saying that. But I would ask people to think about this: if you was the U.S. government, or any government for that matter, or if you was the NOI, and somebody wanted to send one of your members millions of dollars, but in that deal they also promised to send you weapons so you could fight against the NOI. Do you think the NOI would let you? Probably not. And the US government is probably not going to want anybody helping anyone that promises to send them weapons. But I would think this. Is it really true that Gaddafi was planning on sending that money? Because if you wanted to send $1 billion to anybody, why would you go on camera and say you're going to send weapons to rise up against the government? Why? Does that make sense?
From what I heard, they were talking about a separate state, but probably the NOA told Libya, okay, we're gonna get that state and stuff like that. Just like so many promises were made about farmland and different. I mean, there's the guy, I think is it Virbert? The book is called Inside the Nation of Islam. Inside the Nation of Islam. He's a guy who was a minister, Vibert L. White, and he goes in so much details about the different plans and projects, but it's just to get to make money. I mean, he even the people who sell the final call newspaper, they get so much pressure to sell them that they end up buying the bulk, and then they try to recoup the money by selling the rest, but they never ultimately manage to sell all of them, but they put pressure on them to sell them
Right.
so much that they actually, I mean, it's just. But here, for those who wonder, you have the link to the book there. So anyone's it goes on to so many initiatives. I think there was one plan that was called Power. I mean, it was an acronym. POWER. There was so many stuff. So probably they told, "Hey, we're about to have our state," and then it's okay. If you are into the state, then I'm gonna, But I don't really know in details, but it's just all talk and promise. Like he warned the government. He's been warning the government, for I don't know how long. But we have just like the female cat alone,
Mhm.
track field. We see some grown man groupies who cap for him no matter what he say. And now Farrakhan, he has a lot of followers. You know what I'm saying? Now we have the thing that it is most known for, which is the march, the Million Man
Mhm.
March. Some people figure, oh, he can have 1 million people. You know what I'm saying, in Washington.
But
So
you know what?
yeah,
Even that march, he was criticized by other leaders for that march. He got credit for that march, but he wasn't necessarily the main organizer
yeah,
of the
but people
march.
don't know that.
And there
These.
was a lot of disputes about that even before the march happened,
Mm-hmm,
about who would speak first, who would speak last, why, and
mm-hmm,
things like that. And I was at that march, by the way. I was at the Million Man March, the first one in DC, right? I
mm-hmm,
went down there. It was beautiful to witness,
mm-hmm,
but there was debate right after it
mm-hmm,
about, some things that went on internally and different leaders just being at odds with each other, different organizations, and
mm-hmm,
most of them saying that Farrakhan stole the clout, took the, walked away with making it look like it was his organization that
Mm.
mobilized 1 million people. Well, do you have 1 million members of the NOI? No.
No, no. I
You
think
see,
actually in that book, that's where he had the figure. I think he mentioned 300,000 at the time.
right,
But during in 1995, I don't think
right. So it took
they
a
had a,
lot of
yeah.
organizations to make that march happen. And today, everyone says Farrakhan. That shows you how much our people follow just liberation movements around our own country. But I mean, some people are gonna follow them. Me, I grew up. My pops was like, my pops is from D.C. when it was a segregated city, so he thought very negatively of the NOI. They were kind of known as the black organization that was not sophisticated enough to really even know what's going on. So unsophisticated that they would attack other black leaders, like MLK, just not understanding that different regions of the country have different reactions. I mean, if you unarmed or if you armed but you're outnumbered in rural America, like in Georgia at that time, you're not going to react like a black dude who's been in New York, or you're just not an urban city. You're not going to organize the same way, and they didn't get that about SNCC and the other organizations. But I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna chime off and let my battery charge up because I know you got another program tonight. But I'm gonna also try to find that video for you where they show Gaddafi promising the weapons, and
Mm.
Farrakhan makes a look on his face almost like he had no idea. So I always had this thought: if I was Gaddafi and I wanted to get out of a deal, the easiest way to blow that deal is to promise you weapons on camera in front of an audience. I mean, that's how I look at it, Yobi, because once you make those kind of claims out loud, you could be sure to get loads of resistance. It's even harder. If you don't say anything and just send them the money, maybe it will work. But if you go on the camera and say you're going to send them weapons, yo, you
Bad
just
move.
killed the whole deal. You
Bad
just
move.
killed the
Yeah.
deal. Who
Yeah.
does that? You know?
You know.
And I
You
think
know.
that's what
Mhm.
happens with the Nation of Islam, like clumsiness in terms of those kind of things, you know?
Mm.
I
You know.
digress, brother.
Yeah. You know. You scared me. You said you have another program tonight. I was like, name. I missed. I missed the.
Don't you got one at one
this,
o'clock or something?
oh no.
1 p.m. Or I forget, man. I did 3 notifications for you today, man. So
Um.
one of your guests. Maybe it's another day.
Well, I have well, now it's Thursday in France, but in America it's still Wednesday. I have Osam Car at 4 p.m. EST on Thursday
Got it.
19, and
Yeah,
and
that's
then
late. That's late.
then I have Menkara on Friday. Well, actually, it's going to be 1 a.m. in Europe on Saturday, but for
Okay.
America it will be for EST it will be 7 p.m.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So for
Yeah.
you're in the Netherlands, right? So we have the same time, don't
No, I'm
we?
in Copenhagen. I'm in Denmark. I'm in
Oh yeah,
Copenhagen.
but it's the same time as
Mm.
Paris, is it?
It's something like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's,
but
it's, it's,
okay.
it's
So it's
what is
it's
it?
gonna be 1 a.m.
CET.
for us.
Yeah.
Bang.
Yeah. It's the same time.
And again,
CET.
uh, yes, the same time.
Central
We have the same
European
time.
time.
Yes, yes, we have the
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
time. So
Exactly.
for us, it will be 1 a.m. indeed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and you know,
I'm gonna be up. Go
mm,
ahead.
that video, uh, the brother was talking about the march.
Yeah.
Farrakhan, I'm sorry, John Henry Clark speaks on that video, but you have other people who talk about the organizing,
Hmm.
the organization of, I mean, the organizing, the preparation for the Million Man March, and you will hear that it's not just talk. You have that lecture there, and you will see, as I said, all the groupies is going to be like, yeah, but yeah, but yeah, but yeah, but but that's just for the record. So thank you very much for stopping by, B. Bennett. I'm gonna put the end for the last room. It's been 2 hours, so.
Yeah, bro. I wish I could have caught up earlier, man. My battery
No,
caught
it's
me at
okay.
the
I mean,
wrong time.
the main motive for the stream, the ID came up earlier today when I was talking about about the culture, and then he came to me like, "Damn it, there's that video of Farrakhan, that press
Oh,
conference." Yeah, that's how the
but
idea came up. Yes.
by the way, that video that you made about the culture is 100% correct, brother. But
Mm,
you got to understand, a lot of us are not ready to face it. And just like a lot of us aren't ready to face what is NOI, how did they survive when everybody else got killed off and destroyed? I mean, people, Black Americans, African Americans are going to have to reckon with those questions before there's any progress. And it's not just NOI. I mean, this whole thing, like you said, FBA, don't you think it's kind of I mean, do you think it's a coincidence that that's gaining so much momentum that this is happening now? And I don't think it's a coincidence. You know, people can be herded like sheep if you don't know where the message originates from and who it originates from. And that's a big problem with not just African Americans, with people of African descent right now have to be very careful about where they take their talking points from, because everyone benefits when we are divided. And if we are divided, we are not free. So, but we're going to go on, but there's so many subliminal messages too that these guys put out, like Garfield and Reggie. I mean, number one, this is a generation where we're supposed to be trying to find out who our ancestors are, reconnect with them, learn these things, and then all of a sudden, FBA, all of a sudden, you Africans. So which one is it? I mean, you can't have a political stance against your own counterpart if you depend on them to be you. We depend on Africa to know who we are as African Americans. It really is that simple. I mean, there's no other way to go about it. I mean, and these guys, they confuse everyone with these messages, and it's so sad. But I would say it's not a coincidence. There's something more sinister behind it. People fear people of African descent being unified. And this is the UN called this the decade for people of African descent. That includes reparation movements, that includes all kinds of political and social action, cultural initiatives too. And then all of a sudden, right in the middle of the decade, we have something like FBA and all this divisive stuff. So I would challenge people to not go for those easy talking points so fast and be willing to analyze them and ask what will the consequences be if we go this direction. To me, only cowards go and beat up on somebody why would we want to beat up on our African brothers and sisters? How does that benefit us? They're more than we are. They're more in number. We are small in number. And then the other thing I was going to say about Garfield and the rest of these dudes, we should start saying, get a DNA test. Yo, to be quite honest with you, Reggie don't look African American. Reggie does not look African American. I've seen plenty of mixed African Americans. I'm also mixed. I got some mix in me too. Reggie looked a little far off of that one. That's all I'm saying. And I would say, if you're going to speak for African Americans, then show your DNA test. All right, brother. I digress.
Thanks a lot, brother. If you've been it, I appreciate you. All right, brothers and sisters. It was, yeah, thank you. It was a good 2 hours and 13 minutes so far. So before I play the outro, I'm gonna say as usual, stay safe, stay healthy, and if I'm allowed to by the Necheru, I will definitely holler back at you. I don't argue, I state facts. If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. Do I to do a Necheru hotel? Now, for the record, for those who don't know, I'm giving middle nature classes, and here, that's the flyer. Okay, so those who are interested, feel free to holler at me. If you're not interested, it's cool, but I recommend that everybody who has not yet seen the video Kemet and Ma'at before Judaism, Christianity, and Islam
then watch it. It has about 300,000 views and really deserves to have a lot more.
I just want to let everyone know who's listening in now and who's going to listen to this stream in the future. I just had my first Meta Nature class by Brother Shaka today, and I've had other Meta Nature lessons by other teachers, and I can tell you right now, the brother is the best in the game. He is that was one of the best classes I've ever had, ever. So if you're interested in learning the Meta Nature, if you're interested in getting the basics of it, Brother Shaka is an awesome teacher. Get with him, and it's extremely affordable. This brother is giving us his time and his skills, and he's basically giving it away. I mean, I just consider it a donation. You know what I'm saying? So if anybody is interested in learning the Meta Nature, get with this brother right here. He's an awesome, awesome, awesome teacher. And I'll end with that.
Hotep Senu, Hena Senut. This is Julie, also known as Servant of Yah, and I'm currently taking the Medu Nature classes with Brother Shaka, and it has been an amazing experience. Only 2 lessons so far, and I feel like I've been taking the classes for months, just with the how in-depth he goes into the vocabulary words, the construction of the language, the grammar. It's been immeasurable, the experience. And one thing that comes across, hands down, is his extreme passion for teaching this to anyone who is willing to learn and has an interest in learning. So I highly suggest, if you are interested, even a minimal interest, that you subscribe to the classes with Brother Shaka. It's such a nominal amount for how much you get. I know, like, our last class was over 2.5 hours. It felt like 2 minutes, but because that's how, involved you are in what he's teaching and how he teaches and how compassionate he is about what he teaches. Also with sharing materials free of charge, no question, no doubt. It's just what he does. He doesn't have to, but he does. And so I just wanted to give a short testimonial about the class and the effectiveness of the class. And all of that is attested to how studied Brother Shaka is. So I highly recommend anyone with a minimal interest that you do sign up for the Medu Nature class. Hotep.
Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, which is Ma'at Forever. Don't forget to watch the video entitled Kemet and Ma'at. Don't forget to share Kemet and Ma'at on my channel on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, or other social media that you use. Email, text messages, you name it. Those who wish to donate can do so on paypal.me/ma'atforever.